So step 4, here we're gonna be looking at classifying our products correctly. I feel like this is what shippers most struggle with. It's finding which category their commodity falls into. So what is the Commerce Control List? Indeed, it's a list of the categories and product groups used to help shippers to determine whether an export license is needed from the U.S. Department of Commerce prior to the exportation of the goods. So again, you have to do your due diligence prior any export of the goods before it's loaded in a vessel, before it's leaving any USA soil. The classification of the commodity is named ECCN, which stands for Export Control Classification Number. If your commodity does not fall under any of the categories or subgroups of the Commerce Control List, your commodity might be EAR 99, which indicates the commodity is subject to Export Administration Regulations, but not specifically described on the Commerce Control List. Again, if you have any difficulty classifying your product, if you are not confident you classified the correct way, please contact the BIS office. They have a dedicated desk to help shippers to classify their commodities. You can also visit their website. They have a lot of helpful information. What is the USPPI description? What is the USPPI? USPPI stands for United States Principal Party of Interest. So USPPI can be the seller, the manufacturer, or the distributor. I often get questions about what if I sold my commodity to another company in the United States and they decided to ship this cargo overseas. In that case, you are not the USPPI because you're not the one engaging to the export. I would say the last company in the United States shipping to overseas, it is the USPPI. Just making sure you have records of that transaction selling from domestic to domestic.
So Angelica, just to confirm, in an ex-works routed transaction, the USPPI is not responsible for the AES. Is that correct?
The USPPI is always responsible for the EEI, but in case if a company A sells a commodity to company B and company B is still within the US, decides to resell the commodity overseas, that company B becomes the USPPI.
Yeah, so I'll kind of further go into that a little bit because I think it's an important question. As the USPPI in a routed export transaction, you are still responsible to provide the forwarder that your customer has chosen with certain data elements. And we're going to touch on this later. So actually, I'll let you go ahead and I think we have this whole slide on routed export transactions, which will really clarify the topic.
Okay, and then I've got one more question. When you have multiple lines exporting that have different HTS codes, how do you apply the inland freight cost that needs to be captured on the EEI filing?
I would say you can go ahead and prorate the values, based on the weight of the merchandise.
Okay, thank you. And if whoever submitted that question, if you guys do need further information, definitely email us about that.
Thank you, Ken. Going further in the USPPI, how we determine who is the USPPI? The USPPI is responsible, is the party receiving the monetary benefit from that transaction. So if I am the one that I'm selling overseas, can't say hi that I'm the USPPI because I'm receiving the money from that transaction. It's also USPPI's responsibility to classify the commodity and obtain the appropriate license for export if needed. A common question that I see regarding the USPPI is that, can my freight forwarder be the USPPI? The answer is no. the freight forwarder cannot be the US PPI. However, they can file the EAI on behalf of the shippers if they provide you authorization to do so, but freight forwarders cannot classify the commodity on shippers' behalf, cannot be the US PPI on shippers' behalf. Here is a ER decision tree. It guides you on how they're determining if you might need a license for your type of product or not. If you're unsure your classification, please contact the U.S. Department of Commerce. They'll be most helpful for you and take a very deep look into your commodity, and will be able to guide you through this process. It's very important to classify your product correctly.